Hey, welcome back. I used that time to also look up the rule, and the rule is that this objective is going to stay there until every allied unit within 3 hexes of it is removed. So these German units are going to stay here until this unit and that unit's removed. This unit's too far away. Obviously, if I put more units in there, then that keeps them occupied a little bit longer. I'm already thinking of, is there a strategy of retreating my units so that way this goes away and then moving them back in? I mean, there's all kinds of weird things that go through my head. I like exploiting systems. But, okay, so now we got to do the German movement first. And then we have to determine if they're going to attack and all the stuff that goes with it. Okay, so... all right, so first things first, let's see if I can get this down without moving pieces on the board so we can zoom in a little. All right, so we always check units in ascending order. For methods 1 to 9, check all of the units for one method before proceeding to the next. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to just do them in chunks. So here's method 1 through 4. And let's remind ourselves about the restrictions before we get into all these movement things. We do not move a unit starting adjacent to a VP hex, occupied by allied units with strength less than 5 or less than 3 in a city, unless moving adjacent to the same hex. Do not move unit if currently surrounded. Allied unit would become unsurrounded, okay? Do not leave a town, city, or west wall hex vacant if it would result in an ally supply traceable to the hex. That's an interesting one. Do not move if doing so makes allied supply traceable. Yep, got it. Okay, so let's go back over to here. Special reserve or special moves. Exit the map, not happening. Muse, not happening. Move into an empty allied VP hex. There's no allied VP hexes near them. Move closer to unit's army objective and adjacent to allied VP hex. Not happening. Cause surround. Yeah. So let's go back to this. This is the same dilemma I had when I was playing as the Germans. We can't do surround because you can't go from one zone of control to another. Now, why does this still have zone of control? He's a bracketed unit, but he's in a town. You see that? This is a rule I probably forgot a million times when I was a German. And it's really funny because me being gone for 2 weeks, this is the kind of thing I was expecting to forget. And gosh darn it, I remember it. And so thank you to Sir Brastius and some of you who harp on this over and over again with me. Look at me. I'm like a big boy sitting at the big table again. I remember this. So being in a town allows bracketed units to stay vibrant. And it's written right here. I mean, it's not like it's rocket science. Does not exert control unless it's in a town or a city, okay? Or in the German case, it's a west wall. So we have zone of control here and here. So this unit cannot move there to create surround. Now, it normally would be able to go, like bing and then bing, except this is going across a river. So that would be all of its movement points to go there and all of its movement points to go there. So it would take 2 moves to do that. I know one of my strategies, if I ever played the Germans again, is I would take a unit like this and then move it down to here and then come across, just like that arrow shows right there. And then get this guy surrounded and then let him, just through attrition, lose supply. Because that guy is so annoying. However, that is not the case here. We cannot surround. And there's no chance to surround this tank with just this core. Okay, so we move on. Would we be able to open a supply line? They have plenty of supply, no issues there. Okay, only applies to non-mechanized infantry, which is what these are. And that's only for 16 through 22, but we're on 16 right now. Oh, yeah, what's our December 16th rules? All right. Allied non-mechanized units may only move one space. That was something I had forgotten to do. I may not blow a bridge. I may not play the artillery tactic. Yeah, I'm not playing tactics anyways. I hardly have any cards. Okay, so let's get back to this. All right. Move adjacent to Allied VP. No VP hexes anywhere. Move to an empty town. There's no... Well, there is an empty town, but nobody can move to it. So that's not a concern. Move adjacent to an Allied unit or town to which no non-bracketed German infantry unit is adjacent. No non-bracketed. Okay, that would mean move adjacent to a new unit, which is not happening. If already the only such a unit adjacent, movement is complete. Okay. Enter town occupied only by German armor. Nope. Move to hex with detachment marker in German. That's turn 18. So we don't have to worry about that. Okay. So now we go to methods 10 through 13. We so far haven't found any reason to move yet. Follow the movement arrows. Move if able to spend full movement allowance following arrows, with preference given to primary arrows and ending. So it goes in ascending order. So in ascending order, we have this one. His movement, he wants to go here, which he can't because he's already adjacent to somebody. This one wants to actually retreat, which I think is interesting. Would he really do that? It says avoid ending move adjacent to Allied unit. Oh, you know what? You know what? This one, his movement is complete. And here's why. I skipped over it. If you have to move adjacent to an Allied unit or town to which no other unit is adjacent, if already the only such unit, your movement is complete. Okay? So this particular one right here, this guy is the only unit adjacent to him. So his movement is complete. So he won't, retreat or do anything goofy like that. Okay, so the only three left are these three. This guy can't do that move. This one's next. He wants to move there. He can't. His secondary move is here, and he can't do that either. He's not moving. And then this one wants to move like so, and I don't see any harm in that. He's going to move and stack up with him. It says avoid ending move adjacent to Allied unit if possible. So maybe we won't do that. So the secondary move is for him to go here, which is silly. And the reason I say it's silly is because I would do that to just avoid going next to an Allied unit. But to be honest, it says move if able to spend full movement allowance following the arrows with preferences given to primary arrows. So I guess he's going to move to there. So these two have not yet moved, and I don't think they're going to because they're not really able to move. But this is move closer to an army objective. If more than one hex is closer, move adjacent to Allied unit against which moving unit has greater than 3-to-1 strength. A unit is eligible if in supply and stacked with active non-bracketed unit not yet moved. If eligible, unit moves one hex closer to army objective regardless of ally zone of control. But this only happens if they're stacked. And what's interesting is this guy has a stack, but this one's bracketed, so it has to be a non-bracketed stack. Then move adjacent to an allied unit if not already adjacent. So we're basically done. And you can see here that unit with core objectives move towards the nearest allied unit within 3 hexes of a core objective marker, adjacent to unit if possible, if units are equally near than easternmost, etc. Moving adjacent to allied units supersedes movement methods when a unit moves adjacent to an allied unit and hex is A, occupied by a German unit, or B, across the river. If A, a unit can reach unoccupied hex adjacent to same allied unit, move to that. If B, a unit can reach hex not across river and adjacent, then move to that. All right, well, we did cross the river, so anyways, that's it. This is something you're gonna have to go through every time. It's like 14 bullets and sub-bullets. It's quite a list. And I think I did get some feedback from the last time. Some people had some objection to the things I did, but it was minor. It wasn't like I drastically did something wrong, but they felt that it would have gone here to A instead of B. Oh, excuse me. Things of that nature. I'm sure you're going to run into that over and over again when you play this. But anyways, I think movement is over. So now we're going to do, next would be detachment markers, but that's for December 17th. So we're not doing that. And next we're going to do conduct attacks if it meets the attack requirements. Well, that's this section here. So the situational strength of the opposing units by totaling the strength of all active German units adjacent to the hex and all allied units in the target hex with the following adjustments. Okay. Well, we have a bracketed unit ourselves. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8, okay, versus 2 right now. So it's an 8 versus 2. But now we got to do some adjustments here. Include active reserve units that can be placed. There are no reserves. There is no assault coordination. There is no river that they're attacking across. We have to double the strength of an allied unit in a city. So that is now 8 to 4 instead of 8 to 2. And we have to add or subtract from the defending unit's strength. So we're in a city that's also, what terrain is that? Broken. So forest improved. That's it. So it's 8 to 4, which is really 2 to 1. And they're only going to attack if they're greater than 4 to 1 odds. Cancel the attack if it's less than 3 to 1 and all attacking units are in low supply. Cancel the attack if less than... It says attack if it's greater than 4 to 1. If greater than 1 to 1 and less than 4 to 1, roll the die. Okay, that's what we got to do. Because we're 2 to 1. And where did the die go? Here it is. I rolled a 2. It'll cancel the attack if it's less than 1.5 to 1 or the defender's in a non-VP town. The defender is in a non-VP town, so they're going to cancel the attack. So that's it. That wasn't too bad. German turn's over. Okay, so now it's to us. We only have 3 cards. I still have, just to reassess the situation, we're very weak here. They're busting through here. In fact, they got us surrounded and disrupted there. Okay. They have us disrupted here and surrounded. Okay, so that's not good. I was getting to a VP there. And then the north hasn't even been touched. It's pristine. So what do I have? I have the 5th Corps, which is the north. Okay, so we can do some damage there. I do have 1 unit I can deploy, but it's just 1. I do have 2 units from the 12th that can be deployed, and that would help out down here because I'm down to just 1 unit with brackets. Unfortunately, I don't have any cards from the 12th Corps. In fact, I didn't have any at all. So, I'm looking. Yeah, I didn't have any at all in my hand. I was, I was looking in my discard pile there, and there was nothing to be found. I do get a bunch on day 17, it looks like, but yeah, there was none there. I'm looking at the supplemental cards, and there was one card there that I would have been able to use, but that was in the supplemental draw pile that I didn't get. So those will be available next time. Okay, so here's what we got. We got 2 of them from the 5th Corps. Now remember, unless I'm deploying troops, I can only activate, if I activate these units, then the next impulse, I can't activate them again. So, and I also have the 18th. Oh, yeah. Hold on, I'm smoking pot. I'm not surrounded here. Those are my units. Okay. So I would like to activate them from the perspective that I can get into the VP city before the Germans do. However, I think I'm going to stick with the strategy of activating these guys, which then means I can activate the other ones the next time, and then I can activate these the 3rd time, right? So we could deploy our reserves, which is just 1 unit. I'm not super thrilled about that, although that 1 unit could be helpful. Or we can activate all of our units, or activate any 1 unit, which is an interesting idea. Because if I were to do that, I could try to get this guy out of potential surround. He really could move to here. He is a damaged infantry. The thing is if I want to activate my units, and here, let's look at the situation. As you can see, the 5th Corps is right up on the line here. We're holding the whole northern line. We did take some damage. These yellow units are really powerful. I don't think there's any way for us to just take them out, especially the fact that they're in the woods. These guys are in a west wall hex, so that means they automatically absorb 1 hit without even breaking a sweat. So this is actually quite interesting. I want to activate them to do something, but what would I do? There's nothing to attack, and I sort of want to hold my line. So then I'm leaning towards maybe I really should deploy, because deployment is what leads to championships. The other one is, I think these units would really benefit from activating. Because I have, oh, that's an improvement marker there. That's an interesting one. And then this one's sort of an interesting spot. Oh, why am I in such turmoil? I will go ahead and activate this. And I'm going to, well, there are events here. Nope, there are not. There are no events for me. This one has the event Raise the Alarm, which I can do. What's Raise the Alarm? I'm sure I couldn't remember it from the last time I looked it up. I remember not being super thrilled with it. Move any 1 unit its full movement allowance using strategic movement if eligible, or deploy 1 unit from the reserve box. Deploy the unit normally or as a strategic reserve, even if not so designated. So I would just get to move a unit. Or deploy 1. Well, I'm gonna keep with the card that I played, and we're gonna deploy this guy. Okay, so then it becomes what's our deployment rules, and I know it's written on one of these player aids, so let me look it up. So it's going to be within the Allied core area, which isn't a problem. It's going to be up north there. Has to be on a road hex that's a valid supply head, and it has to be 3 hexes away from a German unit. Okay, so within 3 hexes of the same division, if not possible, same core. So this is the 1st division. The 1st division here, and there is no other 1st division on here. So 1, 2, 3 would put me with this VP hex, and I don't have a problem with putting him there. In fact, that's 2 elite units now defending that elite hex. I'm actually quite pleased with that. So that's my whole turn. Yippee skippy. So far, the Allied solo game in my mind is watching the AI play. And I mean that as a criticism, not as a fun factor. This has been watch the AI play. But historically, the Germans had the advantage, they had the surprise, all that stuff. So the Allies really didn't have much to do on the first few impulses. And thematically, they shouldn't. So as much as I'm saying that, I'm not saying that this whole solo game is going to be that way. I think I'm going to get more and more to do as this goes on. But it's interesting because right now, yeah, I'm just basically watching them play. I did get to deploy something, so yay team. All right, here's their cards. And they're both tied. You can see a 2-2 there. They're tied. So then it says it needs to be the lower ID number. So the lower ID number is 57. If you see that one. So we're going to put that one here and this one there. So let's look at this guy. Does he have a command event? He has a special event, but that's not a command event. So don't get those confused. The command events actually say command or event on them. So this one is actually going to wait and support whatever. Now this one, we're going to activate the special Eisenhower hesitates if it was turn 17, but it's not. Aha! So they're going to activate all units in the core, and it's the LXVI, which is, what is that? That's 50 minus, that's 50, 60, 66. See, I'm awful with my Roman numerals. Okay, so that's the 66. Oh, that's these guys. All right, so we know for a fact that this is coming out, and we're going to put this on 1106. What I don't understand is, let's say I was setting up the game. Why wouldn't I put this out when I do setup? I mean, the very first time they activate, this comes out anyways. So there it is. I don't know which side I like more. I sort of like the big, bold, but there you go. That's their objective. They're already near it, but they have to clear all allies within 3 spaces of it. So they got their work cut out for them. And now we got to do movement, which is always fun. Okay, so I'm going to read it to you instead of having you read the movement action and let you see the board. How about that? Maybe that'll be a little bit more fun. Okay, so movement 1. Exit the map, not happening. Move to the muse, not happening. Move into an empty allied VP and stop. Well, there is an empty allied VP, but there's no one moving there. Okay, so move to hex closer to unit army's objective and adjacent to allied VP hex. That's not going to happen. And remember, it's army objective. This is core objective, so we don't do that. Move a non-bracketed unit to a hex that would cause unsurrounded ally unit to be surrounded. That is possible, and that is actually deadly. So we're going to go, it's highest number to lowest. So this one's a 1. That's a 5, and that's a 4. So this armor is going to move through the forest, which is 4 movement points, and he has it, to here. And in doing so, he has effectively surrounded this unit. Now, this unit's going to get some coolness because he's going to be able to supply his way out, but still, it's surrounded. As far as surround rules are concerned, that is considered surrounded. So he just did that, and that actually counts as his move. It's movement method number 3, cause surround. Okay, so now the other ones aren't going to do the same thing because he's already surrounded. It's not going to cause any more surround. You can't cause surround more than once. So then the non-mechanized infantry units will, which is what's left, they want to move adjacent to an allied VP hex, not happening. Move to an empty town, not happening. Move adjacent to an allied unit or town, not happening. Enter a town occupied only by German armor, not happening. Although it doesn't say which I mean, I would assume it's any German armor, not just its own core. But it's still not happening. And then there's some detachment marker stuff, which doesn't happen yet until December 17th. So then the next one, it just simply says follow the movement arrows. So let's follow the yellow brick road. So you can see this one here wants to go here, which he will. And he's now adjacent to other units, so there's no more movement to be done. Because I'm assuming, yeah, his other one is he wants to cross the bridge. This one doesn't even have any arrows. That's, holy cow, there's no arrows even there. All right, so what do I do when there are no arrows? I guess we move on. Move closer to army objective. If more than one hex is closer, move adjacent to allied unit given it. Okay, all right. So, they're going to move here, and then I'm going to just follow the arrow to there. So now we got a nice little stack here. The problem is it's across the water, so it's not super helpful. Okay, so that moved them next to the objective. Obviously, their objective is they also need to clear some stuff out. And now we have to do the German attack check, because remember, we have to do a situational strength check. So there's a lot of things here. The first one is this is a 2 versus a 3. And this guy has an improved position, which makes it a 4. And he's in a forest, which makes it a 5. So it's 2 to 5, which means it's what, 1 to 2 odds? That's really, really bad. They cancel attacks if it's less than 1 to 1. So we're not going to worry about him, per se. Yeah, because it specifically says all active German units, so I don't get to count these German units unless we do, oh, we do have reinforced battle. Okay, so it is possible, although it says not until turn 18. So, yeah, that's not happening. Okay, so the only one that would happen is this one, because this is 5 plus 4 is 9 versus a 2. And what's interesting is I actually want to go here, which is like a retreat, but that would allow them to go across the, yeah, it's interesting. But anyways, it is 9 to 2, but they're attacking over a river, so this gets cut in half, so now it's 4 to 2. It's 4.5 technically. But so we're only at 2 to 1 odds. Okay, at 2 to 1 odds, we have to roll the die. So I'm going to roll the die. And I rolled a 7. And it says if it's less than 3 to 1, cancel the attack. That's what the 7 says on the chart. So they're not going to attack. They're just moving into position. And I'm okay with that. All right, so we take the card and we toss it. Now what's happening, though, is this is just going to move over and become a command because we didn't get to use it as a support card. And it's going to be the Vonderheit, which is an interesting one. You know how I liked Vonderheit when we played it, but how are we going to do it with the AI? That's the bigger question. Vonderheit. Once per game only. If the VDH unit has not yet attempted to deploy, place it in the first of the following hexes that is not occupied by or adjacent to. So this is what I'm reading right here. Then we're going to go up to here. To an allied unit. And so it wants to go into one of those three spots. 510, 408, or 411. And the first of the following that is not occupied or adjacent to. Okay, so I have no idea where these places are, so let's figure this out. 510 is the first one that he wants to go to. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, yeah, he does want to go there. So 510, he wants to go here. So the Vonderheit unit goes there. So I'm going to read off camera here. I have to roll a die to determine the supply status. So you see I rolled a 6, and he's out of supply, according to the chart. And I can show you the chart right here. You can see he's out of supply. So let me grab the out of supply marker. All right, I know I said that I dragged my feet about getting back into this game. I am having fun again. Let me just preface it with that. As much as I poo-pooed and complained, I am having fun. And like I said, if this was an iPad app, I think I'd have more fun. But, okay, so he's out of supply. He may not move, he may not retreat if attacked and is never activated. Check normal supply rules. No allied reserve unit may be deployed within 3 hexes of a non-isolated VDH unit. Okay, so it's going to sort of impact my ability to deploy. But he's out of supply already, so he's in a bit of a pickle. But anyways, his turn is over, and he's deployed his Vonderheit. Okay, so now it is our turn again. And we actually did a reserve deployment, so that means we could deploy or use these 5th Corps. But I'm actually going to do these guys because they moved in on me, and I want to make sure I get to the right spot. There's nobody to deploy, so I'm going to activate all units in the Corps, and let's do that. Okay, so I'm activating all my units, and this guy is surrounded, which is a problem. This one, to move in the forest is 2 movement points if it's a non-mechanized unit. So he can't really move. So I'm gonna go here. I mean, he could move there for 2, but then he can't move there, which is where I ideally, I think, would like to put him. But this one's gonna move back. So he still has zone of control here. And since I have zone of control here, he's not allowed to cross that bridge because he can't leave one zone of control to go into another. So, now this guy, though, has a bit of a problem because he's surrounded and he's going to be in trouble. And so one of the thoughts was I could have stayed here and attacked, but it's more important to hold the city because that's where the VPs are. I am tempted to try to fight my way out, but I need to look up the supply rules. So give me a second while I look up the supply rules. Tracing supply. A unit is in supply if you can trace 4 paths, Supply may not be traced through enemy towns or cities. Friendly units negate zone of control in the hex they occupy when tracing supply, but not when tracing German reserve. Okay, good, good, good. So here's the situation, other than the parents being away on a week's vacation. This unit is surrounded, but he's still in supply because he can go through this unit. Now let me, this is an unabridged river, so let me go back and reread this again. its allowed length is shortened to 1 hex. Okay, it's not in supply because of the river situation. So, I cannot move from here to here or here to there because zone of control stuff. But what I can try to do is attack this thing, but he's in a forest. He's not going to be easy, and it's only going to be, you know, I'm basically 1.5 to 1. You would think that attacking a tank in a forest with your infantry would give you a huge advantage, but that doesn't in this game. I want to bust out, but I can't. I made a poor decision there, and I'm going to have to live with it. So he's stuck for now. Okay, so our turn's over. So now we're going to draw 2 cards for the Germans. And you can see they're both tied at 3. So we're going to use a smaller number. So this guy's the primary. This one's the optional. And you can see Bridge Engineers as the event. So let's do the Bridge Engineers action. Wasn't there, yeah, there's destroyed bridges. Okay, so let's look up Bridge Engineers. Repair a destroyed bridge or build a new bridge. Must be free of Allied control. Sorry, I'm just looking here. This one's not free of Allied control. This one is close. Well, actually, no. We control this, and then even this one with a bracket still controls that. This one is pointing to that bridge there, so we still control one side of it. And I don't remember what this means. I think this means it's repaired, but it belongs to them. I'm pretty sure that's what this means. Green means it belongs to us. So there's no destroyed bridge they can do anything with at this point. So first check destroyed bridges. If a bridge is eligible, repair it. It's not. If no destroyed bridges, check for unbridged river hexsides eligible for bridge building. If a river hexside is eligible for a new bridge, there would allow German units unable to trace supply to do so. If more than one such hexside, okay, there is no situation like this. Actually, there might be. So for tracing supply, this is a I think he's there. Okay, so we can cross a bridge no problem for tracing supply. So yeah, none of this is helping with supply issues. I may be looking at this guy because the zone of control here, actually there is no zone of control. He's a bracketed unit, so he'll be able to go 1, 2, 3, no problem. Anyways, let's move on. If no hexsides are available for bridge repair or construction, the event is not implemented. Oh my gosh. Wouldn't we just build a bridge just for the sake of it? Sorry, I was going to swear there. So this guy would just go across the bridge. Yeah, there's like no situation where yeah, they don't do anything. So if it doesn't do anything, then do we discard the card? I think last time we played that they would not discard the card, so I'm going to keep it. So we're going to go ahead and implement this one. And it says deploy all reserves. Not, oh, that's German. Activate all units. And this is the 1st SS Panzer Corps. Okay, so this is going to be a real challenge here. Because we're talking about these units up here, the yellow ones. All right, let's see how this goes. This is actually going to be quite the pickle. Okay, first of all, we know that none of them are going to exit the map or move to the Muse. They're not even going to go to an allied VP and stop. Excuse me. Oh, we got to do their army objective. So these guys are part of the, what is that, the 6th Panzer Army. So we got to roll a die. Roll a die. I rolled a 6. And so we go to this little chart here. And we rolled a 1 through a 6. And the objective number 1 is Malmedy West. Okay, so we got to just figure out where that is. I wish I could tell you, but I don't know. All right. Oh, there it is. Malmedy right there. West. So there's their objective. And I do remember that the west, north, and south that's written on it does mean something, but not at this phase. It means something like at another phase when they're determining something else. I can't remember what it was, but just trust me on that. It is important to get the orthogonal direction correct. Okay, so that is their objective. Now we're going to do their movement. And so yes, one of their things is can they move closer to the army objective and adjacent to an allied VP? And the answer is no. The allied VP that's closest to them is this guy and that guy way up there. I don't think this is a VP. Nope, it's just a fuel station. I mean, obviously they want to go there, but they got things in the way. Can they cause surround? And the answer is no. There's no way they can cause surround except for maybe these guys. They can come down here and cause surround on him. Oh, that's actually an interesting thing. So causing surround is done from highest to lowest. So this is an 11 and that's a 1. So this guy will go down and they're going to cause surround on him. So my plan is not really a smart one. I should have moved him out of there. But yes, they just caused surround. So done, at least for one of them. Can they open a supply line? Well, nope, that's not even this turn. Okay, now move adjacent to an allied, and this is only non-mechanized, so this doesn't count. All the armor is out on this. Move adjacent to an allied VP hex. Can't happen. Move to an empty town. Not happening. Well, okay. This is weird, but that's an empty town right there. I mean, do they really want to move there? That's a weird objective. But it's what it says. Move. Oh, it says move to an allied town. Move to a German town only if allied supply can be traced. That's okay. That's better. I feel better about that. Okay. Move adjacent to an allied unit or town to which no non-bracketed German infantry unit is adjacent. Here's what's interesting. Every allied unit already has a unit adjacent, so not happening. Follow the movement arrows. I think this is going to dictate more than anything else, following the movement arrows. So it says avoid ending move adjacent to allied unit if possible. So maybe we don't follow the movement arrows. It just says if possible, avoid it. That's what confuses me. So do I move adjacent to a unit or not with that? It says if possible, avoid it. Well, I can just go move to the next movement objective. there's still, 15 million more movement things to try. One of the next movement things is to move in such a way that we could get greater than 3-to-1 advantage against the enemy, which that makes a lot of sense to me, but let's move along the arrows. And this is done in lowest and highest. So this guy here wants to move there, he can't. So he's staying where he is. In fact, he's not going to move, I don't think. And then we go to the next highest. 4, 5. Here, I'm going to stack them. This one's a really high number. Okay, number 2 here is going to go first. There are no arrows where he is. So 2 is not going to do the arrow movement. Neither is 3. Neither is 10. Number 4 here will. And his arrow movement says to move 1 further to there. 5 and then 6. All doing it. Okay, then we got 9. These 2 aren't going to do anything. 14 will go here, because that's what his arrow says. And that only costs 1. And then he's going to go here for 2. And then 8 would go first. Ooh, 8 would go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5. So this would actually be pretty full. So this guy he would go here, and then he's going to go his secondary route, which is there. And then this one would go here, and then his secondary, which is there. So then these last ones are going to just try to create greater than 3-to-1 odds. It says move closer to Army objective. If there's more than one, move adjacent to an allied unit against which moving unit has a greater than 3-to-1 strength, including all other units adjacent to the target. So he wants to go somewhere where there's a 3-to-1 advantage. Well, we got 2 spots here. We have one that has, because remember, we have a stacking limit of 3 units or 6 steps. You know, it's funny. I always forgot that rule too. I think going away for 2 weeks has helped me. Because I had these bad habits where I kept getting the same rule wrong over and over again. And no matter how many times you guys told me, I would go to another playthrough and I'd get the rule wrong again. And now I feel like I'm like catching things that I was not catching before. Anyways, I'm convinced that you'll come up with 12 rules I got wrong anyways. So what difference does it make? Okay, so they want to move somewhere where they can get a 3-to-1. And so it's really funny because I would like to keep them together, but it's going to go 1, 2, 3, and then to move here requires a buttload of movement points, and he can't do it. To move through the woods here is 3 movement points, and that's 4 or 5. So these guys can't reinforce this. It's just too far away, movement point wise, because of the situation. So it says if there's no hex or more than one hex offers 3-to-1 advantage, move closest to the objective. So the objective is here. They want me to move closest to the objective, so that would be 1, 2, 3, like that. And then we would stop. Now there's this other one. I'm going to let you read it with me because it's really confusing. Infiltrate towards objective, 1 unit only. Unit is eligible if it's in supply and stacked with active non-bracketed unit not yet moved. If in supply and stacked with active non-bracketed unit not yet moved. So you have to be stacked with a unit that has not yet moved. So that means I can't count the ones that are stacked because other movement. So here's where I'm going. This unit on the bottom has not yet moved, but these 2 units on top of it have moved. So I was going to do an infiltration move with him, but I don't think I can because he's stacked with units that have already moved. Now these 2, there's actually eligible units in this stack and this stack, but there's nowhere to move. Because they would move 1 hex closer to the army objective, and there's nowhere to move. There's an allied unit in the way. So I think that's it for their turn. Now we're going to go to do the attack check, which is actually going to be quite interesting. The attack check on this is nothing, so we're not going to worry about this direction. We have an attack check here and here. And let's do... Now here's the interesting thing. Do these units participate in this one or that one? Ooh. How do I figure that out? So we check multi-step units in ascending order for eligibility to lead an attack. So what is ascending order here? That is number 9, going down Chicago line. And if the train should jump the track, do you want your money back? That's number 4. He's probably going to go first. Nope, there's number 1 right there. Okay, we got to pay attention here. That's a Piper unit with 5 bips, so that's 2 bips. For 5, this guy could not go there. So when he did his 1, 2, 3, 4, he had to stop there. And then these guys can just stop right on top of him. Okay, so all right. So Piper's going first. Calculate the situational strength of the opposing units by totaling the strength of all active German units adjacent to the hex and all allied units. So it's all of them. So both of these units are going to participate in this and not in that. So fair enough. So this is 3, 4, 5, 6, and 6 is 12 to 3. So we got 4 to 1. I probably should have moved that guy backwards. I'm not thinking very well from an allied perspective. So 12 to 3 is 4 to 1 odds. Whew. If the supporting card shows assault coordination, it does not. It has infantry infiltration, which infantry infiltration means they're going to be flanking us. And that is true. So the support card is being used for infantry infiltration. So I will go ahead and discard that. Okay, so then we have to do situational strength. He's not in a forest. He's not in an improved position. In fact, it is 12 to 3. So it's 4 to 1. And it says attack, attack, attack if it's 4 to 1. So we are not passing go. We're not collecting $200. We are attacking. Okay, so it's been a while. It's been a while, my friend. All right, so to do an attack, first thing we do is we look at the German attack. We draw on a German card unless there's overwhelming attack, 12.36. I don't think 4 to 1 odds is overwhelming, but let me look it up because I don't know what that rule is. And thank you for writing it down. This is one of those ones that would have pissed me off to have somebody have to remind me of. If it's 9 to 1, we do not draw a card. So draw one German card. Apply its combat tactic, if any. Check supporting card and apply its combat tactic. Yes, we already did that. Here's the card I'm drawing. It's infantry infiltration. It is the same. But we still play them both, okay? And it'll come clear in a second. But we play them both, even though they're both the same. Add German reserves. There are no reserves, so we don't have to worry about that. Play an allied tactics. We're not. We're going to draw our chits. Okay. So drawing the chits is here. This here. So there's the mandatory minimum. It equals the steps in the defending hex, which is 2. So we're going to still do this. So 2 minimum, okay? Then the maximum is equal to the number of attacking units that have no brackets. So I'm going to, if you're okay with me counting off camera here, it's 1, the Piper unit plus the one on top of it. That's 2. And then 1 from the next stack over is 3. The 4th one is bracketed, so only 3, okay? But here's why we played both cards. You get +1 for every tactic played by the attacker. So even though they played 2 cards that had an identical tactic on it, that's +1/+1. So now it's 5. I hope that makes sense. So does it have an elite unit? Yes, it does. So that's 6. Does it have for each one that has 3 or 4 steps? Well, we know the Piper unit does, so that's 7. And that's the only one. Nobody's out of supply, nobody's isolated. So the maximum is 7. Okay, Germans always draw the maximum number of chits for German attacks. Every combat tactic in a German attack adds +1 combat draw, even if it's identical. That's the thing I was just explaining to you. And for allied tactics, we do like we did if we were the Germans in the previous campaigns. We draw the minimum and then we decide how many more. So they're always drawing the maximum. So they're drawing 7. So come hell or high water, they're dealing with 7. So here we go. I think we're not going to do very well. So let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then what happens is these go in. Shuffle, shuffle. And 7. Okay, so in no particular order, let's look at these. Are they greater than 5-1? No, they're not. Are they greater than 3-1? Yes, they are. They're 4-1. Here's 4-1. Or 6-1. No, they're doing 4-1. Do they have flank attack? Actually, they do. Is there allied air power? Nope. Is this the 5th Panzer Army or an allied attack? It is the 6th Panzer Army, so this one's out. Is it a large attack? So that means that we drew 7. 1, 7. Yeah, it is. But we look at the other side first. Nope. So that happens. Is it forest, woods, or broken? It is broken, in fact. And greater than 4-1. There we go. Okay, so they take 1 hit. We canceled 1 hit, but we take 3. Okay, so now we got to apply the hits. And now, if we were defending a town or a city, we get to cancel a hit. If the defenders are dispersed, which isn't the case, defending units may either retreat 1 hex to satisfy 1 hit, or 2 hexes and become dispersed to satisfy 2 hits. All other hits are resolved by step loss. The first hit occurred by the attacking unit must be applied as a step loss, 2 additional. Yep. Okay. German attacker hit reduction. If all defending units are eliminated in a German attack and allied units remain unfulfilled, Reduce the number of German attackers by the number, okay, of the remaining Allied hits. So if a German attacker, if all defending units are eliminated in a German attack and Allied hits, yeah, I think what that's saying is if they eliminate all the Allies, they can cancel the hits that's done by the Allies onto them with any additional hits that they had. I think that's what that is. Okay. All right. We don't have to worry about that. Okay. So we are assigning hits to attacking German units. Allied step loss to a unit of my choice. German step loss first to a 4-step unit, then 2 or 3. Okay, so it's telling you the order of things. So basically, we can retreat twice and become dispersed before we start taking hits. And so that's what we're going to do. We have 3 hits on us, so we're going to retreat twice, become dispersed, and then take 1 hit. Okay, so a step loss, I mean to say. All right, so it's funny because, it's like, well, per the rules, we would retreat this way. I get to retreat however I bloody well want to, but I'm going to retreat here, and then 1 more to there, and then take a step loss and become disrupted. That unit's not very helpful where it's located right now. I'm looking for the disruption marker. Why can't I find one? Oh, here they are. Okay, so that's just to stay alive, basically. And for the German units, the first hit is a step loss, period. Oh, and actually, looky here. That's another, see that D1 there? That's another loss on us. We actually get eliminated. So my apologies, we got eliminated there. Okay, so this is the first magical thing that happens. Let me grab another tray here. I'm going to just put this tray to the north here. There are 2 eliminated Allied units. For every 2 units that are eliminated, the Germans score a victory point. So they got their first point. That's what I'm trying to say. Okay. Now, they took a hit. It's going to be a step loss, but who gets it? First to a 4-step unit, then to a 2 or 3-step unit. If none, then a 1-step unit. Okay. For more than one choice of unit, assign loss to unit and hex with the most total steps. So this is actually brutal for them because I would never agree to the step loss that they're going to take. So it says to a 4-step unit first, then to 2 or 3-step unit. Well, obviously you have a 2-step unit there, there's a 2 there, and then the Piper is a valuable elite unit with a 3. For more than one choice, assign loss to unit and a hex with the most total steps. Then higher selector number, finally you choose. So this one has the most steps. It's got 5. And since this is the higher selector number, I'm going to hit this guy and not the Piper unit. Because it says the 2 or 3 step is all part of the same check. So having 3 steps does not make it more valuable than a 2-step. Only if it had 4 steps would it be the priority to take the loss. Okay, so they take the steps, but now we got to do the advance. So German advance after combat. Check units for advance 1 at a time in ascending order. Roll the die and consult the following table. I'm reading this section right here. Okay, so we got to go in ascending order, and they're going to figure out, do they want to move forward by the primary or secondary route? That's the big arrow or the little arrow. Or across river and closer to army objective, or blah, blah, blah. Okay, and so that's what we're going to figure out, okay, for the German advance. So we have to start with the in ascending order. So that would mean like the Piper unit goes first, actually. So, for example, the Piper unit's got a 1. So he's going to advance. So his primary is here. His secondary is there. This is his secondary direction, okay? So the advance after combat is advancing in the direction of where we were. He's just not going to go anywhere willy-nilly. So, so it's a primary or secondary route that has nobody in it. And so the table says that if there's nobody there, no units there, it's an automatic advance. So basically it's a no-brainer. And then attacking mechanized units may advance 2 hexes if the defender conducted a 2-hex retreat or was eliminated. Now that, of course, was changed with the rules, but it has to do with zone of control. So he couldn't. So his second advance could go here if the unit was not eliminated. You can go there and ignore zone of control. But because he was eliminated, I can't leave this space to go to that space because I'm leaving one zone of control to go to another. Okay, so it's a rule that's not written in the rule book, but you're just supposed to know it. John Butterfield, I guess, wrote an email about that. Okay, so okay, I'm just reading the supplemental stuff. It said that for his second movement after combat, for his second movement, he would follow the fat arrow, the primary direction, which he can't do. Okay, it says that bracketed units won't advance. Bracketed units and units attacking via reinforced battle or assault coordination do not advance. So the only other one is this guy, and he has a unit. This would be a secondary path. So let me show you the table so you can see what I'm seeing here. He wants to go along the secondary route because that's where the unit vacated, was where his secondary arrow points. There's already one unit there, the Piper unit. So now he's going to roll a 1 to a 6. If I roll a 1 to a 6, then he will advance. Otherwise, he stays put. So that's what happens in that situation. So let's roll. And I rolled a 6. I know you can't see it. It's right over there. So he does advance. So we're going to go back to here and move this unit forward. And he does not do a 2 advance move, or because he's not mechanized. It wouldn't matter anyways. And then that bracketed unit's going to stay put because he does not advance. Okay, so I'm at 1 hour and 8. I'm going to close and see you in a few minutes. And it'll be our turn when I do that. And welcome back to the table. I hope y'all didn't forget about me, and glad to still have you back. And I apologize I've been gone for so long. We're back in the groove, baby. Talk to you later.